We have some breaking news right now, a chase. Let's go up to Desmond Shaw live in SkyCal. We're going to go to Mike Rogers over at the desk for some new information. Mike, what do you have?
Yeah, Susie, this is the California Highway Patrol, and this is on one of their frequencies that we don't often hear them on. Sounds like they were doing some sort of operation where they were either, oh my gosh, right there, so hitting that Tesla. It sounds like they were doing some sort of operation where they were tracking a narcotics suspect. So this is believed to be a narcotics suspect. We've got John up there in SkyCal, and it looks like some of those ground units have kind of backed off a little bit. They were plain unmarked ground units that were following this. Sounds like either detectives or something with the CHP, one of their specialized units that were doing this. And again, we were hearing this on a frequency that we don't usually hear in the San Fernando Valley here as we cross Victory and Balboa right here. A very busy time of night, Susie.
Yeah, no kidding. If you're just joining us here on KCAL News, this is an early edition of KCAL News Today. Alongside Mike Rogers at the desk, I'm Susie Suh. We have John Schreiber, our photographer, up in the air in SkyCal right now, giving us the shots of this car moving very quickly. And it looks like this is the LAPD tracking a narcotics suspect. Some specialized units were perhaps conducting some sort of operation. It's unclear exactly what was happening, but as a result of that, this chase started. Right,
and so these are actually CHP units that are doing this, and they had requested some of their marked patrol cars to come out, and they are asking for an airship. They're trying to get a helicopter over it as well, and it looks like LAPD may be coming from the east right now, but SkyCal is the only helicopter over this at this point. And you know, right before we came on the air, Susie, as we were going really fast down these streets, I did see some of those unmarked CHP units that had their kind of headlights and taillights flashing. See how he navigates this red light, weaving in and out of cars. Really dangerous chase here. And the other problem, Susie, they've talked about on the radio is that they can't see in those windows. Those windows are very dark, tinted, very dark. And it is, sorry, just listening to some radio traffic, narcotics suspect, and they are waiting for LAPD's airship to be able to clear the Van Nuys Airport. Apparently there's a lot of traffic in and out of Van Nuys. The tower is holding them as we get on the 101 freeway here. Looks like on the southbound side, Susie.
Yeah, you know, usually the CHP, they like to do one package, so one helicopter, all of their units on the ground. They don't like to mix because of the frequencies and different communication modes that different agencies have. But as we continue to follow the CHP pursuit going really fast down a surface street right now, over 80 miles per hour, close to, my goodness, going 90 miles, just flying down the road. At this time of day, too, Mike.
Yeah, and Susie, I want to point out, if you can loosen the shot just a little bit, you're going to see that unmarked CHP unit right behind him there. So that unit is actually, that is a CHP unit right there. You see the taillights flashing. That is the CHP unit that is actually involved in this, which makes this really all the more dangerous. There is nobody alerting the public here. Those undercover units, of course, have a siren, but as we have talked about, sirens are kind of hard to hear until you're right up on you.
Exactly.
Usually they rely on the flashing lights and all of that to be able to alert the drivers that something's going on here. But you've got that single kind of CHP unmarked unit really trying to hold this in place here as they wait for some of those more marked units to get in place. And you see that that unmarked unit had to back off now because that traffic got a little bit heavy.
Yeah, you can see on the northbound side, the traffic is pretty heavy. On the southbound side, though, really light, actually, as we take you through the Encino area and this car just flying down the road. And as you can imagine right now, commuters, like Mike was saying at the desk, they don't know what's coming right behind them. It can be a very dangerous situation as the CHP is chasing this car on the ground with an unmarked unit, as we understand, and the CHP chopper overhead. They're talking with the LAPD right now about getting involved. But as Mike was saying at the desk, there are some issues with air traffic right now, the Van Nuys Airport, Mike?
So yeah, we've crossed over the Van Nuys Airport. We've actually crossed over the 405, continuing southbound on the 101. And the good news about that is the LAPD helicopter has now gotten in place. So you have an airship overhead, which is great news because this guy is just absolutely flying. So hopefully that will allow that unmarked unit who doesn't have any lights to be able to kind of really warn the public to back off a little bit as we take the exit here. I believe this is onto Van Nuys, I believe this is onto Van Nuys here as we get off and back on surface streets. And what was interesting, Susie, is the unmarked unit really only wanted the marked units help once they got on the freeway. So we'll see. I mean, it's a narcotics suspect. It's somebody that sounds like they were probably tracking and surveilling for a period of time and then tried to make a stop on it. Obviously, that didn't go well as we're going wrong way here up Van Nuys Boulevard, southbound rather, on Van Nuys Boulevard, which is just incredibly dangerous. At least they're on the right side of the road now. But hopefully they'll get some marked units into place. You know, CHP is one of those agencies we talked about, Susie, that chases forever. And we've seen them do that on simple DUI drivers, let alone a narcotics suspect. I would assume that they're probably going to be in this for the long haul.
Yeah, no kidding. If you're just joining us here on KCAL News, this is breaking news. The CHP chasing a narcotics suspect, the LAPD airship overhead, and hoping to get some ground units on the ground there. But as Mike was just talking about, this started as some sort of narcotics investigation, and they were tracking a narcotics suspect, and then this chase ensued. So, you know, Mike, we're talking about the various things that could have happened. You know, we don't know how many people are inside this car. We don't know under what kind of circumstances the chase began. We don't know if they were armed. So a lot of unknowns right now for officers. So as you can imagine, pretty dangerous chase on the ground, weaving in and out of lanes, going on the wrong side of the road, as you see here, on surface streets, no less. Yeah,
on Beverly Glen here, 50 miles an hour, wrong side of the road, really wild driving. You know, Susie, when we were listening to this radio traffic to begin with, it sounded like the CHP officers hadn't gotten a chance to catch up with them. So it's kind of hard to tell whether or not they had attempted to make a traffic stop and the person took off, or, and there's that again, there's that unmarked unit now on the wrong side of the road as well, really, and right on the tail of this suspect, not wanting to give it up. So, you know, the hope is they're going to be able to put together what's called a pursuit package, where they'll get a bunch of marked units in here, 3 or 4 of them, and really be able to conduct this pursuit kind of a little bit more by the book. Not to say that this isn't by the book right now, but obviously you want your best circumstances on a pursuit, which is marked units, K9, that kind of thing. So hopefully they are trying to get that in place right now, but at least you've got the LAPD airship overhead as we at least get onto a little bit of a wider street here, Susie.
Sure, and as they make all those considerations, Mike, they're thinking about public safety as a #1 factor, obviously. So as this car drives, you know, 60-some miles down a street in Sherman Oaks right now, at this hour where there are a lot of cars out there commuting, you know, we're running into the situation where the officers will kind of weigh their options. Do we
risk?
A
parking garage.
This is what we see often in pursuits, them going into a parking garage. This might be the Sherman Oaks Galleria, or
Westfield Fashion Square.
That's right, that's right. Just off in the valley here. And there we go. As you know, right into that parking structure, it's a big one too, multi-levels. If you've been to this mall before, it looks like they're going to go into this parking structure. As we often see suspects do, they'll ditch the car in there, you know, maybe change their clothes, take off a jacket or a hat, or maybe put one on and try to disguise himself, and maybe just mingle in right into the crowd of the mall right now. The mall doesn't close until 9 o'clock, so we've got a couple hours here where there are going to be people at this mall, Mike.
Yeah, and you know what? I just played the video back, and our director, Mike, pointed it out to me. That CHP unmarked unit did not miss a beat. On his tail, followed him right into that parking garage. Now I can hear LAPD airship simulcasting on the Van Nuys frequency and is requesting LAPD units code 3, which is lights and sirens, here to this parking garage to assist that CHP unit. What I have not heard is any update from the CHP unit that chased the suspect in. But, you know, as I mentioned, Susie, really right on his bumper. As soon as that guy pulled into the parking garage, this guy was the CHP unit right behind him, which is, you know, the only way parking garages really work is if you have enough of a distance on the law enforcement to get into the parking garage and ditch the car.
Which is what we usually see.
100%.
So oftentimes, yeah.
But if they're right on your tail, that's going to be a lot harder to lose them, because you can't go 60 miles an hour inside. Sorry, just listen to some of the radio traffic. You can't go that fast inside of the parking garage. It's going to be a lot harder for him to lose that CHP officer if he's in the parking garage with him.
And it's very concerning too.
Right there. We got him.
There it is.
In and out of the parking garage.
Wow. And I was just going to say how dangerous that is, because you know, parking garages, especially at the mall, people are coming out of their cars, and if these cars are going really fast as a result of this chase, the suspect and of course the CHP officer right behind them, I mean, that could really turn into a dangerous situation for people at the mall. So obviously the CHP going to be weighing their options inside here as they're probably talking you know, on the radio with other units, and the LAPD, who is supposed to be joining this very soon here on the ground. But as we bring this picture back to you again, we're at the Westfield Mall in Sherman Oaks, and the suspect pulled into a parking garage.
And there's
an LAPD unit right there going inside the parking structure there. This is the first marked unit that we've actually seen throughout this chase. Again, this started as some sort of narcotic suspect investigation. Some kind of surveilling was happening, and then this chase ensued. Some specialized units with the CHP after this person, and now the LAPD coming coming into this and hopefully getting the suspect under arrest. But we do know that the CHP officer with an unmarked vehicle did follow this person very closely into the parking structure. Then we saw them come out and then go right back in. So the big concern right now is this person under arrest? Have they found him? Being so close, right, Mike?
Well, yeah, and that's what, those LAPD units are going to be able to go in and, try to find it, because the other thing is still we have not heard, I have not heard at least on the radio, that from that unit that followed the car into the parking garage. So you would know, we would hope that there would be some, direction from that CHP unit that says, hey, I'm over here in the, this corner of the parking garage, but we just haven't heard that yet.
Yeah, and this is after a very fast pursuit through surface streets and the 101 freeway as well. We saw them going so fast, up to 80 miles on surface streets, 100 miles on the freeway with traffic, mind you, and just weaving in and out of lanes. And as we try to bring you the end of this pursuit here, we're still looking at these LAPD units that are circling the mall right now. Unclear if they've actually caught the suspect, if they have been apprehended or not. It's unclear right now, but it looks like they are still searching for this person. Unclear exactly how many people are inside this car. We don't know if they're armed, so that's also a consideration and a concern for officers as they stop this person. And it looks like something is happening here. Is this car?
Yes, I mean, I see. Okay, so that's our first marked highway patrol unit that is in uniform, and you've got these two LAPD units here. But the airship keeps saying, I last had him here going into the parking garage. So it doesn't sound like that unit has really checked in yet. At least I'm not on the frequency that I'm listening to. So the LAPD is now trying to get more of those officers in there to try to help out that unmarked.
We were saying earlier, with these chases, we so often see this happening, the suspect driving into a parking structure, and you can understand why, because it makes it much easier to lose authorities. But this time, what we rarely see is the authorities right behind this person into that parking structure. So we're curious as to what happened after we saw them come back out and then go back into the parking structure.
Sorry, real quick, Susie. John, if you can go in that pickup truck that just pulled out of the parking garage there on your left. It looks like that's another unmarked. Yeah, right there. Nope, back to your right. Well, there's LAPD, but yeah, back on the other side, it looked like there was another pickup truck that's going to on the other side of the building right here. That was also an unmarked. So they. Yeah, they're looking. They got units, LAPD units on the perimeter of the parking garage looking. Sorry, Susie, I just wanted to point that out really quick.
Of course. No, lots happening right now, as police try to bring this to an end. The LAPD on the ground now and in the air. The CHP is the one who was doing the chasing, as you see on the right side of your screen. It was an unmarked vehicle from the CHP that was doing the chasing earlier on the 101 freeway, going really fast on the 101 southbound, as you can see, weaving in and out of lanes, and on surface streets sometimes going the wrong way. So as we see what's happening right now on the right side of the screen, what happened earlier and what's happening right now, an investigation happening right now into this person. They're looking into where this person is, and hopefully that CHP unit behind them was actually able to track them down, Mike.
Yeah, and I'm listening to the radio, and John just heard from the police helicopter that's up there. Suspect vehicle has been found abandoned. The suspect is out and possibly inside the mall. So now that's why we're seeing, units kind of posted up at every entrance and exit of the mall here, because now they think they've got him in the mall. The good news and bad news about a mall. Good news is there are security cameras everywhere.
Yeah, sure.
So hopefully they have at least a solid description on him. And if this is a narcotics suspect that perhaps they've been surveilling, they probably know who he is and have a good description on him. So hopefully he's not somebody that's going to be able to really blend in. And they've got enough units there now, and they've got the entrances. Sounds one in custody. So they've got one in custody now. They just want to hold the perimeter for a few more seconds.
Does it sound like there were multiple people inside the car?
That's what they're trying to verify.
Okay.
And Mike, this gets very difficult here for officers, especially when you're talking about a mall with so many people in it.
Right. It does, totally. And the other issue too is your airship now becomes kind of unusable, right? I mean, the great news about the airship is they can really follow anybody anywhere except inside.
Sure.
Right.
So you lose that extra asset of the eyes of above when you can't see it. But only one suspect in the car and one person in custody, and now they're giving out the code 4.
Okay, so all clear now. It looks like they've got the suspects under arrest, and this is bringing a chase to an end that we were watching go along the 101 freeway. And we had the LAPD chopper overhead and the CHP earlier before that, and coming to an end here at the Westfield Mall in Sherman Oaks. Looks like it all code 4 here is all clear, and believe 2 suspects, Mike?
No, just one.
One suspect under arrest, the driver of that car that the CHP was chasing earlier. We're going to have the very latest for you, a wrap-up of this tonight on KCAL News at 8, alongside Chauncey Glover and Mike Rogers at the desk. I'm Susie Suh. We'll see you shortly.